Today is the result of the words you spoke yesterday, and tomorrow is the fruit of the words you talk about today. Most of what we say ends up affecting ourselves. Change how you speak, and your fate can change, too. If negative words become a habit, unhappiness follows, because words have potent effects. Success is a habit. At first, we create habits, but eventually, those habits control us. Character isn't built overnight, only when good habits pile up. Does your character change, and with it, your destiny begins to shift. Humble people enjoy listening more than talking and try to understand others. Don't get angry even if someone swears at you. Those words will bounce back to them. People who talk without thinking often bring failure to themselves. The way you speak shows how much you care about others. Harsh words break the blessings that come your way. The power of words is like tossing a stone into a lake. It creates ripples that impact your life's path. Don't slack on practicing how you speak. Let the positive energy of your words change your life. Thoughts and words are the beginning of all creation. People who grew up in bitterness. Desire is like a fierce fire, and power is like an intense flame. If you don't have a bit of clear, cool air inside that fire, even if the flame doesn't burn others, it will end up burning itself. Power easily corrupts people, so you need that clear, cool air. That is, self-control and awareness to keep it in check. If you can't control desire and power, even if the fire doesn't hurt others, it will eventually destroy you. When you're going through hard times, everything around you feels like needles and medicine. And you end up acting without realizing it. When things are going smoothly, it all looks like swords and spears ahead. But even if it cuts flesh and bone, you don't realize it. Pain and hardship during tough times are like medicine and needles that train you. But we often don't notice them. On the other hand, a calm environment may seem peaceful, but hidden weaknesses can slowly erode us. See hardships as chances to grow. And don't let your guard down when things are easy. A pure heart will always be suspected by the dishonest. And a strict person will be hated by the careless. Receiving is endless, but a noble person should never waver in their principles. Even in tough times, and shouldn't be overly strict. Simple people often get misunderstood by those chasing flashy appearances. And those with self-control tend to rub the wild ones the wrong way. In situations like this, the noble person sticks to their values but adopts a wise attitude. Never showing harshness or sharpness. Stop rushing around aimlessly, that's just busy laziness. Getting rid of things you don't need makes life more satisfying and free. And in the end, that's what brings happiness. Most worries come from caring too much about what others think. Trying to hoard things is worse than having fewer of them. Stuff piled up in heaps won't last long. A house full of gold and jewels can't be kept safe. If you get arrogant just because you're rich or powerful, you're only setting yourself up for failure. When you've achieved something, stepping back is the natural way. The sage learns from heaven's ways, and the wise seek to learn from the sage. A scholar wants to learn from the wise. Self-cultivation is something you have to take step by step, starting from what's close to you. The biggest mistake parents make is turning their kids into trophies. The most extraordinary wisdom of parents is to live in a way that makes their lives something their kids can be proud of. Don't struggle against life. If you go with the flow naturally, you'll find yourself blending into some mysterious part of this world. Don't get cocky thinking you're smart. It's not just profit or desire that harms your heart. Stubbornly thinking you're always right and being narrow-minded is what hurts you from within. Acting like you're clever is the biggest obstacle to moral growth. Words are like loaded guns. People truly get to know themselves when they're alone. If someone doesn't value solitude, they won't understand the value of freedom either, because you're only truly free when you're alone. Fierce animals like tigers or leopards conceal their sharp claws and teeth, rather than displaying them. The strong don't flaunt their power to cause others to fall. True luxury isn't about showing off. Even rich people who waste tend to feel like they never have enough. Being frugal and at ease aren't the same thing. People who try to do too much often end up complaining. How can someone who is lazy be genuinely innocent and pure? Confucius said that when there's proper etiquette at home, family roles become clear. When there's etiquette within the household, relationships improve. When etiquette is practiced in the government, official ranks are respected. When hunting is done with proper manners, the military gets well trained. And when the army follows etiquette, they achieve great success in battle. A noble person who only has courage but no manners causes chaos. A petty person who has courage but no manners turns into a thief. Zhuangzi said that in the government, position matters. In the village, age is respected. And when helping the world and governing the people, nothing is better than virtue. Old and young, adults and children, heaven sets the order. We mustn't break that natural law or harm what's right. When you leave your house, treat guests like they're precious. When you enter a room, act like people are watching. And if you want others to take you seriously, you need to take them seriously first. A father doesn't talk about his child's virtues, and a child doesn't speak of their father's faults. A perfect person uses their mind like a mirror, meaning they don't hold on to anything inside, and have no regrets. While they accept things, they don't cling to what's given. On narrow paths, stop for a step to let others pass first. When you have delicious food, share about a third of it so others can taste it, too. This is truly the best way to live comfortably in the world. Mistakes are only human. For people, mistakes often stem from not finding the right balance between themselves, others, and things. Errors or faults are like solar or lunar eclipses, they're always there but unseen until suddenly they appear. When corrected, they become something almost miraculous that everyone respects. It's good to start each day like this. When you open your eyes, think about whether there's even one person you can do something for that will make them happy. Insects don't act out of malice, they act because they need to survive. People stab others because of instinct. Critics are no different. What critics want is the blood inside our flesh. So, our suffering means nothing to them. It's tough to remember my opinion without also remembering the reasoning behind it. People speak carelessly because they've never been truly reprimanded. Don't compete with young people. Instead, acknowledge their passion, encourage them, and savor the time spent with them. People with low virtue cling tightly to what little goodness they have, and that's why they lack true virtue. Those with high virtue don't force things but can do anything, while those with low virtue have something but don't take action. People with great benevolence have something but don't act on it. Those with great righteousness have something and do act, and people with great propriety do things. But if others don't respond, they roll up their sleeves and forcibly make them cooperate. So, after losing the stone comes virtue, after losing virtue comes benevolence, and after losing benevolence comes. After losing righteousness, there's only chaos and confusion. Being sincere and faithful is key. Empty promises are like flashy but meaningless flowers, the start of foolishness. That's why a true man stays grounded in what's solid, not flitting about shallow things or chasing empty illusions. He lets go of the nonsense and holds on to what matters. The secret to success lies in identifying the right opportunities and having the courage to seize them. If you act decisively, even spirits will avoid you. A teacher's real power lies in their confidence to transform people. Other people's views and problems can be contagious, so don't unknowingly adopt negative, unproductive attitudes that destroy you. For your health, don't hold on to resentment or blame others for too long. Think carefully about minor matters, but trust your heart with the big ones. Anger is a strange weapon. It doesn't just use a person, it uses them in return. When making friends, the foundation is keeping your word. Honestly, am I living up to that trust? Has there ever been a time when someone abandoned their parents and turned their back on their ruler in the name of righteousness? Young people tend to stick together in groups, as do adults, but older individuals often go it alone. When I play with a cat, who's really in charge? Am I playing with the cat, or is the cat playing with me? Nobody knows. People often complain that they don't have enough time, yet they act as if it were unlimited. Neglecting family duties is like fruit getting worms. You don't notice at first. However, it spreads, bringing pain, laziness, poverty, and endless boredom. But if you're a decent person, you can learn a lot from those hardships. A truly virtuous person is someone who cultivates themselves. Like polishing a stone, reaching a calm state where unnecessary thoughts don't bother them, and they act without hesitation. They don't fuss over right or wrong, good or evil, but find joy in sharing benefits with others, hoping to prosper with the people. Sometimes, when you deeply realize this, it's like a child overjoyed to have found their mother, suddenly aware that they're still part of this world. Whenever it comes to mind, it's like a traveler lost on a long road. Because they don't waste money, they naturally save, don't care much about wealth, and don't fuss over food, so they end up living comfortably. This is what a virtuous person looks like. In youth, your willpower takes charge. In old age, reflection rules. In other words, youth is the perfect time to create, while old age is suited for philosophy. When it comes to action, young people often decide based on judgment and feelings. However, older individuals mostly make decisions after careful thought. One's homeland is more precious and sacred than even one's mother, father, or ancestors. We must cherish and obey our homeland. Start improving from the easy things, one step at a time. Suppose you want to influence others' minds. In that case, you should work from the good and clear parts gradually, rather than forcefully tearing open the blocked parts. Likewise, if you want to reform customs, start with the easy tasks and move toward the root causes step by step. Don't try to fix complex problems all at once. A heart that's not kind is poor indeed. Life doesn't last long, and neither does a comfortable lifestyle. Someone who understands the way adults embrace hardship when it comes, and even when in good times, they still find joy. A container has to be empty to hold anything. Every hardship is like a drumbeat stirring the heart, pushing us forward and sparking new thoughts, a valuable hint to notice and acknowledge. Knowledge without justice isn't wisdom, it's just helpful information. If you knock, a sound will come. If you don't, it stays silent. A noble person answers when asked but doesn't speak without being questioned. If a teacup wants water from the teapot, the cup must be lower than the pot. Just like a herder drives cattle back to the pasture with a whip, old age and death keep pushing life forward without rest. What is there to laugh or rejoice about? The world keeps burning endlessly, yet you're hiding in the darkness. Why not seek out the light? Look at this fragile, sickly body. Do you think it's comfortable to rely on? With so many desires and illnesses, there's no unchanging substance here. Gone. When life fades and the mind drifts away, like a gourd left behind in autumn, the flesh decays and only bare bones remain. So, what's left to love or enjoy? Imagination is more important than knowledge. Disasters from the heavens can sometimes be avoided, but disasters we create ourselves are unstoppable. Even a weak arrow can fly far if it catches the wind. When we're going through tough times, recalling good memories from the past can be helpful. However, when things are going well, bad memories can feel harsh and unsettling. That's a peculiar phenomenon. No matter how short the path, if you don't walk it, you won't reach your destination. No matter how easy the task is, if you don't do it, you won't accomplish it. Nothing can replace effort. The most significant human strength is the ability to doubt. We are the products of our dreams, and our short lives are surrounded by sleep. Humans need to know their limits, but they also need to understand how to overcome them. When you meet a wise person, forget about the trends and focus on connecting with them on a personal level. You don't need to leave your house to understand the world, and you don't have to look out the window to know what's going on in the sky. The more you go out trying to find knowledge, the less accurate your understanding becomes. So, a wise person doesn't wander around yet still knows what's real, and even without seeing something, can give it a name and achieve it naturally. If you only feed someone without loving them, it's like raising pigs. If you only love without respect, it's like training wild animals. Respect isn't something you get after the fact, it's already there beforehand. You can show all the formal respect in the world, but if your heart isn't in it, a true gentleman won't be bound by it. You should avoid doing what's wrong and not try to do what shouldn't be done. That's all there is to it. Those with great virtue and skill often face hardships. Only loyal ministers and humble men who aren't comfortable in their hearts and deeply worry about the kingdom truly understand things. You can own material things, but if you're attached to them, they control you. Only when you're not a slave to possessions can you use them wisely. And just because you know something doesn't mean you need to say it right away. Don't do frivolous things just because you think you should. Instead, keep them in your heart and use them to deepen your awareness. When you see a good person, think about becoming like them. When you see someone less admirable, reflect on yourself quietly. Don't try to fix doubtful matters on your own or rush to make decisions. Honestly, improve your own opinions, and don't stubbornly stick to your views. A kind heart is far more precious than a beautiful appearance. Contents matter more than form. Anyone can get angry, and that's easy. But getting angry at the right person, to the right extent, at the right time, for the right reason, and in the right way, that's never easy. The rhythm of nature never stops or ends. Nature balances itself and exists most naturally. As humans, what we eat, wear, think, do, and how we interact should be natural, to no forcing, showing off, or pretending. Being natural leads to a healthy life. All truths left unspoken become poison. To succeed, you have to accept failure. Failure is the most significant step toward success. Gifts can easily win over a person's words, but winning over their heart is much harder. If you respect yourself, others will likely respect you as well. When someone is just starting, they should set their mind firmly on becoming a sage, genuinely believing in it. Never belittle yourself or make excuses. Ordinary people and sages are the same. Although temperament and purity can vary, and no one is perfect, if you truly understand and practice this, you can let go of bad habits formed long ago. Restoring your original nature, all good qualities will naturally follow without adding anything extra. So, how could ordinary people not strive to become sages? That's why Mencius argued that everyone's nature is good, pointing to examples like Yao, Shun, and the legendary kings to prove it. He said everyone can become like them, so why would I deceive myself? I must work hard to realize that human nature is inherently good and that wisdom and foolishness have existed throughout history. If sages are truly sages, why did they rise above the rest, and why haven't I? Becoming a mediocre person all alone isn't because of fate or luck. It's because you haven't truly set your mind on something, don't clearly understand what you know, and don't act sincerely. Setting your mind, knowing well, and acting sincerely, these all depend on me alone. Why look anywhere else? Think about who the wise King Shun was and who I am. It's said that even those who do extraordinary things are just like simple musical instruments. So, I'm no different. I should aim to follow King Shun's example and mindset. A person's looks can't be changed from ugly to beautiful, a weak body can't be turned strong, a short stature can't be made tall. These things are set from birth and can't be changed. But the mind, that's different. Foolishness can be turned into wisdom, incompetence, and capability. That's because perception and understanding come from what the heart allows, not from the natural temperament you're born with. There's nothing more beautiful than wisdom and nothing more precious than kindness. What's the point of suffering if you don't practice kindness and wisdom and end up ruining the natural goodness given by heaven? If people kept this idea deep in their hearts and stuck to it without backing down, they'd be pretty close to the right path. People often say they've made up their minds, but then they drag their feet, not studying right away and waiting for some future time. The truth is, even if they say they're determined, their heart isn't really in it. But if you truly put your mind to learning, practicing kindness becomes something you do naturally, and wanting to do good leads you straight to it. So why look for it in others or wait for the perfect moment? The reason we focus on speaking firmly is that when our words are steady, we're more likely to get serious about studying and keep at it instead of slipping up. But if your heart isn't sincere or steadfast, and you follow old habits without real effort, what good is that? Even if you live a long life, if you don't grow, what have you achieved? It's important to know where courage ends and foolishness begins. A wise person is someone who doesn't associate with those who harm themselves and can't work with those who give up on themselves. Causing harm to yourself through words or abandoning your principles is like hurting or forsaking yourself. A gentleman has 14 things to be mindful of every morning and evening. Speech must be honest and trustworthy. Behavior should be sincere and respectful. Food must be eaten carefully and in moderation. Handwriting should be neat and correct. Posture must be proper and serious. Clothing tidy. Walking calm and dignified. Living space clean and quiet. And when speaking, always consider if you can put words into practice. Always hold on to virtue firmly, be cautious when approving, treat good deeds as if they were your own, and regard wrongdoing as if you were ill because of it. These 14 things are still lessons I haven't fully mastered. I keep this list to my right and review it every morning and evening as a reminder. Foolishness is way more dangerous than evil because evil sometimes stops, but foolishness never does. If you try to reason with a fool, they'll just call you foolish back. Never argue with fools, they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience and stupidity. A person who has left worldly life finds joy in being self-sufficient. That's why they don't push alcohol, see winning and go as not fighting, appreciate the flute for its lack of holes and value the black zither because it has no strings. They're comfortable not greeting or sending off guests when there's no set meeting time. If you get caught up in surface-level manners and formalities, you'll soon be sucked back into the painful worldly chaos. True freedom and peace come from inside, not from strict rules or rough conventions. Just like they don't pressure you to drink, don't treat go as a battle to win, and don't insist the flute or zither sound a certain way. You should accept meetings and farewells naturally, without forcing anything. If you get caught up in appearances, you're bound to get trapped in the pain of the world. Bugs don't even realize they're burning up and jump into the fire. Fish, unaware of the danger, bite the bait at the end of the line. But we, even knowing there's a net of misery, still can't let go of sensual pleasures. Human desires have no end. You've got to learn to respect great people. When you do, you won't act arrogantly. You also need to respect ordinary people. When you do, you won't be conceited or prideful. People with high virtue are called noble, and respect and honor them, and your reckless thoughts will naturally fade away. Don't look down on everyday folks just because they have no power. Always treat them with respect and caution, and any tyrannical feelings you have will disappear on their own. When things don't go your way, even a little, think about those who have less than you. That will help eliminate anger and resentment. If your mind starts to get lazy, think about those who are better than you. That will naturally sharpen your focus. I'll remind you, when things don't go your way, it's easy to feel frustrated or start blaming others. But at times like that, thinking about people who have it even harder than you can help ease that frustration and bring a sense of gratitude. On the flip side, when you're feeling lazy or unmotivated, try thinking about someone better than you. Comparing yourself to someone more skilled can push you to work harder and get back on track. Pain and satisfaction constantly shake up our existence, but wise people learn from these ups and downs. The more you forbid something, the more you tend to obsess over it. Remember, that's just what someone not present here would say. Genius means having the ability to figure out things on your own without always relying on others. When trying to build virtue, work on doing more good, and when trying to root out evil, focus on eliminating its source. Genius is made up of 1% inspiration and 99% hard work. True brilliance shines brightest when paired with subtlety, and the boredom that subtlety might bring can be relieved through flashes of brilliance. You can run 1,000 miles in another galaxy. Even a tired nomad, walking without rest, can still cover 1,000 miles. When your mind is calm and your words and actions are correct, you begin to find true happiness. In a peaceful land where people are good at shooting arrows and driving carts, you must respect and support them, only then will skilled archers and drivers gather there. True philosophy is to laugh at philosophy itself. If you doubt people, you'll only end up losing twice as much. Good manners improve all human relationships. Someone who has learned a lot but doesn't do good deeds is like a wild horse. As soon as its rider gets on, it throws them off. If anyone points out your mistakes honestly and treats you fairly, that person deserves your respect as a teacher. Just like a beautiful flower can sometimes have no scent, words without action are like fruitless trees that never bear fruit. You'll never find anything valuable without putting in the effort. Don't just memorize stuff. A wise person always considers whether their actions align with the bigger picture. In contrast, a lesser person only thinks about what benefits themselves. If someone knows a little, acts all high and mighty, and looks down on others, it's like a blind person holding a candle. They light up others but can't see themselves. Whether it's a person's behavior or running a country, you have to follow the will of heaven. Heaven is fair, and this is the law of morality. When danger is ahead, a great person waits patiently until the conditions are right to face it. They never rush into reckless actions. Like when a big river blocks your path, a wise person waits for a boat to come before moving forward. It's not just waiting around, it's about preparing thoroughly and giving your best until the right moment arrives. Unwanted guests often get the best treatment only when it's time for them to leave. Initially, God created humans with both male and female qualities. So, men have female hormones, and women have male hormones. No one is born truly wise from the get-go. Time makes everything complete. Religion is truth to ordinary people, a lie to the wise, and valuable to those in power. Don't be too quick to form bonds in just 2 years. Trying to make connections with everyone you've barely brushed past is just unnecessary and exhausting. Someone who can conquer others is strong, but someone who can destroy themselves is compelling. If you don't look far ahead, worries are sure to be close by. Only with true virtue can the mind be at peace, and only when the mind is calm can you act with self-control. A person whose mind is steady and who acts with discipline is called a noble person. Lending money is like sending it out with the wind, and collecting borrowed cash is like finding treasure. Babies live to eat and drink, while the wise eat and drink to live. There's a big difference between someone who feels shame in front of others and someone who feels shame in front of themselves. Success comes to those who work hard and wait patiently. Let me repeat that today is the result of the words you used yesterday, and tomorrow will be the fruit of the words you speak today. Most of what we say, in the end, it all affects us. Change the way you speak, and your destiny changes too. If negative words become a habit, unhappiness follows. That's the power of words. Success is a habit. At first, we form habits, but later, those habits control us. Character isn't built overnight, it changes only when good habits pile up, and when that happens, your fate starts to shift. Humble people enjoy listening more than talking and try to understand others. Even if someone curses at you, don't get angry, that anger will bounce back to them. Loose lips lead to failure, and the way you speak shows how much you care about others. Harsh words can even ruin the blessings that come your way. The power of words is like a stone causing ripples in a lake. They create big waves that shape our destiny. Don't slack on practicing how you speak, and let the positive energy of your words bring change in your life. Thoughts and words are where creation begins. People raised in greed are like a raging fire, and power is like a blazing flame. But if there's even a little clarity inside, if your spirit isn't cool and calm, that fire inside you won't just burn others, it'll end up burning you, too. Greed and power are easily corrupting people, so you need a clear, calm mindset, basically self-control and insight to keep them in check. If you can't manage desire and authority, that flame might not hurt others, but it will destroy you in the end. When you're going through tough times, everything around you feels like medicine and healing, so you naturally develop discipline without even realizing it. But when everything's going smoothly, it feels like knives and spears surround you. You're numb to the damage no matter how much it hurts. In hardship, pain and struggle act like medicine, strengthening you even if you don't notice it at first. On the flip side, in easy times, things might look peaceful on the surface, but the comfort can slowly rot you from the inside out. Treat adversity as a chance to grow, and when you do, don't let your guard down, stay alert. A person with a pure heart will always be suspected by the dishonest, and a strict person often ends up disliked by the reckless, but a true gentleman stands firm no matter what. You must stay true to your principles without wavering, but don't avoid coming across as overly strict. Simple people often get misunderstood by those chasing flashy appearances, and those with self-control tend to rub reckless people the wrong way. In such situations, a wise person adheres to their principles without exhibiting sharp arrogance or pride. Stop rushing around without a clear purpose, that's just busy laziness. Let go of things you don't need, and you'll live more freely and happily. Ultimately, that's what brings us happiness. Most of our unhappiness comes from worrying about what others think. Trying to fill up with more and more possessions only backfires. Things piled up can't last long. A house full of gold and jade can't be protected forever. If you become prideful just because you're cherished or wealthy, you're setting yourself up for failure. When you achieve success, stepping back is a natural course of action. The wise learn from how the heavens work, the enlightened learn from the wise, and the scholar learns from the enlightened. I hope you understand that self-cultivation is something you have to take step by step, starting close to home. The biggest mistake parents make is trying to turn their kids into a source of pride. The greatest wisdom parents can have is to live their lives in a way that makes their kids proud. Don't struggle too hard against life. If you go with the flow of the world and nature, you'll find yourself becoming part of something mysterious and wonderful. Don't act like you're smarter than everyone else. It's not just greed and selfishness that hurt the heart. The real thief is the thought that you're the only one who's right. Acting like you're smart gets in the way of moral growth. Words are like loaded guns. People truly get to know themselves only when they're alone. If someone doesn't value solitude, they won't understand the value of freedom, because we're only free when we're alone. Fierce animals like tigers or leopards hide their sharp claws and teeth. They don't show their power openly. The strong don't flaunt their strength or dominance. A person who lives lavishly is never satisfied, no matter how rich they are. Being frugal and relaxed is a whole different kind of wealth. Someone capable might work hard but still complain, while an incompetent person's idleness can never be truly innocent. Confucius said that if there's respect and proper conduct at home, the family hierarchy is clear. If there's respect at home, the whole family lives in harmony. If there's respect in the government, official ranks are established. If there's respect in the military, training is well organized, and with respect in battle, victory is achieved. A noble person with courage but no respect causes chaos, and a petty person with courage but no respect becomes a thief. Zhuangzi said that in the government, rank matters. In the village, issues of age matter, but to help the world and govern the people, nothing beats virtue. The order between elders and youngsters, adults and kids, is decided by heaven. You shouldn't break these natural rules or harm the balance. When you leave the house, treat your guests like they're essential, and when you enter a room, act like someone's there. If you want people to respect you, you have to respect others first. A father talks about the virtues of his children. A child points out their father's mistakes, but a perfect person uses their mind like a mirror. That's why they don't hold on to anything in their heart and have no regrets. They accept what comes their way but don't cling to it. On a narrow path, step aside for a moment and let others pass first. When you have good food, share a small portion, only about a third, with others so they can enjoy it, too. This is truly the best way to live comfortably in the world. Mistakes are only made by humans, and they come from failing to find the right relationship with ourselves, others, and things. Errors and faults are like solar or lunar eclipses. They're always there but hidden until something changes. Then everyone's amazed by the mysterious transformation. It's good to start each day like this. When you open your eyes, think about doing something, even just for one person, that will make them happy. Insects don't sting out of malice, they do it simply because of their instinct to survive. That's how it is, and the same goes for critics. What critics need is the lifeblood inside us, so our pain means nothing to them. People who speak carelessly about my opinions usually haven't bothered to remember my reasoning because they've never been truly corrected or challenged. Don't compete with young people. Instead, recognize their passion, encourage them, and enjoy the journey with them. People with low virtue don't have fundamental principles, while those with high virtue might not be flashy but can do everything without failing. Those with low benevolence have something, but don't they act on it? People with high benevolence also have something, but don't they act on it entirely, either? People with high righteousness possess something and act on it. People with high propriety do things, but only if others respond willingly. Otherwise, they don't force it. So, after losing trust comes virtue, after losing virtue comes benevolence, after losing benevolence comes righteousness. And after losing righteousness comes propriety. Proper propriety is all about sincerity and trust. Because it's thin, it causes dizziness in the head, and doing things prematurely is like chasing empty, useless flowers. It's the start of foolishness. That's why a true man stays grounded in what's substantial, not in superficial things or empty fantasies. He chooses what's real over what's vain. The secret to success lies in spotting opportunities and having the courage to seize them. If you act decisively, even spirits will avoid you. A teacher's true power comes from the belief that they can transform people. Other people's views and problems can be contagious. Through empathy, you might unknowingly absorb negative and unproductive attitudes. So don't let that destroy you. For your health, don't harbor resentment toward others. Think carefully about minor matters. But trust your heart with big ones. Anger is a curious weapon. It wields you, rather than you wielding it, unlike other weapons. The foundation of making friends is keeping your promises and loyalty. Honestly, have I ever lacked that loyalty? Dizzy and lost, abandoning one's parents, remaining righteous until now. There weren't any. Young people hang out in groups, adults pair up, and old folks go around alone. When I tease my cat, who's the one playing with whom? Humans often complain about lacking time, yet they act as if they have all the time in the world. Doing something immoral at home is like a fruit getting worms. It spreads without you noticing. It soon leads to ruin, poverty, and endless troubles. If you're a good person, you can learn a lot from these things. So-called virtuous people are those who cultivate themselves, much like polishing a stone, and build up their character. Reaching a state where their surroundings are peaceful, they don't waste time on needless thoughts and act without hesitation. They don't get caught up in right or wrong disputes, find joy in sharing benefits with others, and wish to prosper together with the people. Sometimes, when you have a profound realization, you feel as happy as a child reunited with their mother. And when you remember you're still caught up in the world, it's like a traveler lost on the road, tired and weary. They don't waste money. Naturally, you save money and don't care much about wealth. Since you don't fuss over food, things naturally become abundant. This is what a virtuous person looks like. In youth, personal judgment rules, while in old age, reflection takes over. In other words, youth is the right time for action, and old age is suited for thinking deeply. When it comes to making decisions, young people often decide based on their opinions and feelings. Whereas older people tend to take the time to think things through first. One's homeland is more precious, more pure, and more sacred than even one's mother, father, or any other ancestors. We should cherish our homeland and obey it. Start improving things little by little, beginning with the easy stuff. If you want to change someone's mind, you have to work gradually from their brighter side. You can't just force open what's blocked. Likewise, if you want to reform customs, start with the simple things and work your way up to the root causes. Don't try to fix the most complex problems all at once. People who aren't kind-hearted can't endure a hard life for long, but they also won't last long in comfort. Those who have mastered the way of adulthood find joy even in hardship, and when things go their way, they enjoy that, too. A container has to be empty to hold something. All difficulties are like beats of a drum that stir the heart and spark different thoughts, valuable clues. We recognize and greet each other even from afar. Knowledge unrelated to justice isn't wisdom, it's just useful info. If you knock, sound will echo. If you don't, it won't. A virtuous person answers only when asked and stays silent otherwise. If the first cup wants water from the teapot, then the first cup must be the lowest in the pot. Just like a herdsman uses a whip to drive cattle back to the pasture, old age and death relentlessly push life forward. What's there to laugh or be glad about? The world keeps burning non-stop, and yet you're still wrapped in darkness. Why not seek the light? Look, relying on this fragile, sickly body to be comfortable? With so many desires and vulnerability to illness, there's no constant substance here. When life ends, and the spirit leaves. In autumn, like a discarded gourd, only rotten, scrawny bones are left to roll around. So what's there to love or enjoy? Imagination is more important than knowledge. Natural disasters might be avoidable, but disasters we bring on ourselves can't be escaped. Even a weak arrow can fly far if the wind's behind it. When times are tough, it's beneficial to reflect on fond memories from the past. However, when things are going well, bad memories can feel harsh and incomplete. That's a curious thing. No matter how short the path, you won't reach your goal if you don't take it, and no matter how easy something is, you won't get it done without doing it. Nothing can replace effort. The most outstanding quality of humans is the ability to doubt. We are the product of our dreams, and our short lives are wrapped in sleep. People need to understand their limits, but they also need to know how to overcome them. When meeting wise people, stop overthinking and strive to emulate them. You don't even have to leave the house to experience the world. You don't need to look out the window to understand what's going on in the sky. The more you try to figure things out by going outside, the less you know. An actual wise person doesn't need to wander around to understand the truth. They can recognize things without seeing them and achieve results without effort. If you feed someone without loving them, you're treating them like a pig. If you make someone do things without respect, you're raising a beast. Respect is something that's in the heart before any formal gestures, like a wedding ceremony. Even if you go through the motions of respect without really feeling it, a noble person isn't fooled or trapped by that. You shouldn't do things you know you shouldn't, and you shouldn't want to do things you know you shouldn't want. That's all there is to it. Those with great virtue and skill often face hardships, while loyal, low-ranking people who worry deeply about their duties come to understand things truly. You can own material things, but they shouldn't control you if you want to use them well. Don't be careless, and say everything you know out loud. You shouldn't ignore it. Instead, keep it in your heart and deepen your understanding of it. When you see someone admirable, consider emulating their qualities. When you see someone not so good, use it as a chance to reflect on yourself. Don't try to fix or decide on doubtful matters right away. Honestly, improve your own opinions, and don't stubbornly stick to your views. A kind heart matters more than a pretty face. Content is more important than appearances. Anyone can get angry, that's easy. But getting angry at the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right reason, and in the right way, that's never easy. The rhythm of nature never stops or ends. Nature cleanses itself and exists most naturally. We humans should be just as natural in what we eat, think, do, and how we relate to others, without forcing things, showing off, or pretending. Being natural is the key to a healthy life. All truths left unspoken become poison. To succeed, you have to accept failure. Failure is the greatest gift to success. The power to silence a person's words. Even if it's easy, it's tough to win someone's heart. If you respect yourself, others will likely respect you as well. When you're just starting, you should set your mind on becoming a noble person and promise yourself that no matter what, you'll achieve it. Don't ever belittle yourself or make excuses, not even a little bit. Ordinary people and saints share the exact nature. Sure, personalities might differ, some clearer, purer, or more mixed, but if you genuinely understand and put it into practice, ditch your old bad habits, and restore your original nature, all kinds of good qualities will naturally come without adding anything extra. How could ordinary people not strive to become saints themselves? That's why Mencius said everyone's nature is good, referring primarily to kings like King Wen and King Shun as examples. He said anyone can become like a king. So, how could I trick myself into thinking I'm already a saint? And why would I settle for being just an average person? This all happens because I haven't firmly set my intentions. I'm unclear about what I know, and I haven't committed to living sincerely. It's all up to me to set my goals, understand things clearly, and live righteously. How could I expect to find that anywhere else? They said, "Who was Emperor Shun, and who am I?" Anyone who acts nobly is just like Emperor Shun. So, I, too, should strive to emulate him and use that mindset as my example. You can't change an ugly face to a pretty one, make a weak body strong, or grow taller than you naturally are. These things are fixed from birth and can't be changed. But the mind? It can turn foolishness into wisdom and turn weakness into virtue. That's because the judgment allowed by the mind isn't limited by the traits you're born with. Like not pushing drinks, not competing over games, and enjoying the sounds of flute and strings without clinging to formalities. You should accept meetings and partings naturally. Getting tied down by appearances only leads to worldly suffering. Like bugs that don't realize they'll burn and jump into fire, or fish that don't see danger and get caught fishing for bait. Sure, but even though we know life's full of misery, we still can't resist sensual pleasures. Human foolishness knows no bounds. We need to learn to respect great people. When you respect the great, you don't get arrogant. Even ordinary people deserve respect. If you respect them, you won't act proud or pretentious. You should respect and honor those with high virtue and reputation, because then, your reckless attitude will naturally disappear. Even ordinary folks shouldn't be looked down upon just because they don't have power. Always treat others with a sense of respect and caution, and your cruel impulses will fade away. When things don't go your way, think about those who have less than you. That'll make complaints and resentment disappear. If your mind starts to get lazy, think about those who are better than you, which will naturally motivate you. When things don't work out, it's easy to get frustrated or resentful. However, if you think about people facing worse situations, your dissatisfaction will lessen. Be grateful. On the flip side, when you feel lazy and lose motivation, think about someone better than you. Comparing yourself to someone more skilled can push you to work harder and regain your drive. Pain and satisfaction constantly shake our existence, but wise people grow and improve themselves through these ups and downs. When something is forbidden, we tend to want it even more. That's what someone who isn't there tells you now. Genius is the ability to learn what ordinary people must learn from others on their own. When building virtue, focus even more on doing good, and when removing evil, work hard to eliminate it at its root. Genius is made up of 1% inspiration and 99% hard work. Brilliance shines brightest when subtlety supports it, and the boredom from subtlety can be relieved by brilliance. A fast thoroughbred can run 1,000 miles a day. Even a tired horse can cover 1,000 miles if it keeps going without rest. The mind is already calm, and so are your words and actions. When you do things right, you start to enjoy them. Suppose you want more people in your country to shoot arrows well and drive chariots skillfully. In that case, you have to make sure they're rewarded and respected. Only then will skilled archers and drivers gather. True philosophy is making fun of philosophy itself. If you doubt someone or have put them to work, don't continue to doubt them. Learn to appreciate the power of good manners. Mastering proper etiquette improves all human relationships. You can know a lot, but if you don't do good deeds, you're like a wild horse that bucks off its rider the moment they get on. If someone gives you honest advice and points out your flaws correctly, that person deserves your respect as a true teacher. Just like a flower without a baby or a flower without scent, words without action are like a fruitless tree that won't bear fruit, no matter how good it looks. Don't just memorize what you find when dealing with things. A wise person always reflects on whether their actions are proper and if their gains are right. First off, if you think you know a little and start acting all high and mighty, looking down on others. It's like a blind person holding a candle. They light up everything else but not themselves. People's actions and how a country is run should follow the will of heaven. Heaven is fair, and that's the rule of the way. When danger lies ahead, a wise person waits patiently until the right conditions to overcome it are set, never rushing into things unthinkingly. It's like when a big river blocks your path, a wise person waits for the boat instead of trying to cross recklessly. Waiting isn't just about doing nothing, it's about staying ready and fully committed until the time is just right. Unwanted guests usually get the warmest welcome only when it's time for them to leave. At the start, God made humanity both male and female. So men have female hormones, and women have male hormones. No one is born wise. Wisdom is something we all build over time. Religion is truth for ordinary folks, falsehood for the enlightened, and valuable for those in power. And when forming bonds, don't be too careless or loose. Nope. Trying to form connections with just anyone you brush past is a pointless drain. A strong person can conquer others, but a compelling person can destroy themselves. If you don't look ahead, you're bound to worry about what's right in front of you. Only with true virtue can your mind find peace, and only after your mind is calm can you act with restraint. A person whose mind is steady and whose actions are measured is what we call a noble person. Lending money is like throwing it to the wind. Getting repaid is like finding it again. Babies live to eat and drink, while wise people eat and drink to live. There's a big difference between someone who's ashamed in front of others and someone who's embarrassed in front of themselves. Success comes to those who work hard and patiently wait. Thanks for watching.